Hello and welcome to the update video for Archaeology Rush for the 13th of August. I've been working hard on the game over the last uh, week or so, and I've got a couple of exciting things to show you. But first of all, I just want to show off a problem. I know we had a problem last week, but that's game development. We run into problems. So the first thing I want to show you is just one of the things that I find really difficult with game development. Of course, I'm a programmer. That's what I do. I'm a professional game developer, programmer day to day in my job. Fortunately, I work for a studio that works on AAA games, so I don't actually have most of the time. I don't have to deal with a lot of these problems. I can kind of just deal with my specialism. But with my own games, I have to do everything. And that is exciting. It's fun. It's what I want to do. But there is an issue where I am not the greatest at designing UIs that work with different aspect ratios. Now, it's a problem I've ran into before. It's why the original version of the game is 14:3 if you go and play the old demo. And it is why this is not working. Yes, so the numbers that I put in aren't random. They're not random. They weren't random when I put them in. That is the aspect ratio for a critical platform that I want to target, which is the Steam Deck. I want to target it for a couple of reasons. The first one is just that I would like to target it because I feel like the Steam Deck's really accessible. I like playing on the Steam Deck. It's a controller-based game. And I feel like, especially with the fact that I'm putting this onto Steam, that's where I want to be able to, it's a platform that I want to target. And the other is that it is a really interesting platform to develop for. And so, I want to kind of learn more and have it be playable on that platform. I think it's really important to that marketplace. So yeah, this just doesn't work. You can use it, but there are significant things that just do not kind of display the way that we want. For example, like letters are just too full, and on the right side here, it just does not work. So yeah, this is our first problem that I wanted to deal with. I've been sort of working in the background on this for a couple of weeks because I had to message Steam support just to understand the problem with setting up the game for Steam Deck. And now that's resolved, and I saw this, and I was like, doesn't work. You can jump into levels, and it's cut off on the top there, but actually in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of a minor problem compared to those first three main menu, the letter screen and the deck's kind of world map screen. Yeah, so ultimately this works outside of that. So yeah, I'm going to fast forward and show you what it looks like after I have done the changes. So see you then. Right, so we're back, and you'll see that we have a not perfect, but a readable letter. And if we jump in and travel as soon as possible, you'll notice that on the right, yes, the text is a little bit messed up, and we can fix that in a bit. But then if we go to our letters, which for some reason aren't appearing, which is great. I don't know why that's not appearing. Let me jump into the save and just fix that. So if we reload the save, let's kill this. Oh, I think we might have another letters bug. Whoa. Right, we're just fixing a bug on display here. Right, yeah, I know what is wrong. We are not getting the letter envelope display. That's an issue that I need to fix generally. Right, let's just, that'll be why we're not getting any letters. Is that null? Yes, it is. Right. So this path will be wrong. So let's jump over to the game. Let's go over to desk. Jump over to the letter pop-up and right. So we want to place it in here. So we are looking at letter panel. It's not got the aspect ratio container. Love that. And in theory, aspect ratio viewport, letter container, and then center container. Cool, that should work now. Let's boot up. I'm gonna have fun editing this into something interesting. Another issue that I need to fix. Jump over to here, jump in, and yeah, that is working. Right. Cool. So if we, I think I've joined with the keyboard. If we just jump in now, that one's too small. Let's open up the start letter. You'll see that, yes, wonderful. It is sort of rendering correctly what we want to see. So yeah, we can actually read it. That's the important thing. So let's just talk actually a bit about how I've done that. And we'll start with the letter stuff, considering I actually had to fix it. This just shows how recent these changes are. But yeah, so the main kind of thing to do this was I needed to be able to scale something. So if I instantiate a letter, right? So we've got a letter here, and essentially all I'm doing is, instead of directly rendering our letter to the screen, I'm rendering it to a separate viewport, which is this viewport here, letter container. It's like a sub viewport, and that viewport has a size that is the same as what we'd expect when it's on 1080p. And you can see the bounds if I do this of the viewport just there. So that viewport is sort of doing the heavy lifting for us. So we then sort of nest it in a viewport container. And you'll see that viewport container kind of there. That's just us scaling and filling around. That viewport container has a size of 742. And so that is the size of the viewport. But we have overridden the internal size to 217. So we are rendering, and all of the logic and the sort of maths about how we were rendering it exactly the same as it used to be, but this time we can just render it to a smaller screen. And that does mean that we lose a bit of data. I mean, effectively, like it means that like we are losing this, every pixel, it is half a pixel. So I will have to work on some readability. But yeah, and then we just have an aspect ratio container here just to make sure that we aren't hitting some warping in the way that we do. And we probably should do it very similar on here, because that is same. We have a sub viewport, and then we have our letter inside that sub viewport. And then we just have a sub viewport container, which takes the whole screen, and then the sub, so it's like is a screen, and we're rendering a screen inside a screen. I'm sure that this is not the most performant way to do it, but it fixes the problem for me in a very kind of easy and manageable way. The desk screen here actually is a slightly different issue and probably needs a little bit more work. Here we've got the player windows themselves, and what I've done is actually just tidied them up a little bit just so we've got less clutter. But player windows had an original size of 200. So that meant that when we had our desk, they kind of were overfilling and pushing everything out of the way, because 200 times 4 is 800. Like, that's just maths. So we needed smaller assets. Like, it works for 1080 because then you've got 200 pixels remaining, but you know, for 800 it doesn't work. And the difficulty with doing stuff like this is that we need to sort of cater to the lowest common denominator, which is frustrating, but it it does the job, and I'm sure this is something we'll review later. So yeah, that is the bulk of kind of these changes for the Steam Deck. I'm going to jump into last week. You would have noticed some changes for the Lily Petrie demo stuff. So if we load into the game here, and I'll show you what that now looks like. Let's bump up the screen size to slightly bigger, and then we can see it 1920 by 1080. That is close enough. Right, let's jump in, and don't know why we're so blown out there. That is not normal, but that's fine. Right, so we've switched over here, and for some reason that's not worked. Great, love to find a bug whilst I'm working on these videos. I'll have to go fix that right away. Let's just jump out and jump back in. So that's the same as you saw last week. It would have switched the players over. I'm going to stick with the same here. That's it. Now it's working properly. We've switched over to Lily Petrie. If we join as other players, let's give that window focus. These are now red archeologist and so red archeologist and green archeologist. So that's great. But we now also have some dialogue kind of clued in, and I've also been working on the new levels in the background. So they're all designed and in theory, but we just need to get them wired up and working. I've got some fun ideas for the Lily Petrie demo, but yes, so it is getting there. Slightly sidetracked by the Steam Deck stuff. I'll show you. So yeah, we've set up Cairo. We've added in new graphics for each kind of character. We've started work on the dialogue system. I can show that off here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, 6. Can't do maths. Different piece of dialogue, and we just need to set up. So now, some of the work that I've done is we have our we have different locations sort of hiding now, which is what we want. So I'll jump over to the map view. The different locations sort of hiding, which is the intention. And as you'll see, like I've prepped the positions for the new tombs, but the letter system doesn't actually work with the setup that we've got now. So we need to hide letters that aren't associated with different characters. and have a way that can be done. So yeah, we're getting still more progress to be done, just sort of like code changes and all of that, but we'll get there eventually, and we'll have. I don't think this chapter will take me 2 months to do. To be honest, I actually think the bulk of it is going to be done over the next week or two. Yeah, and so that'll be exciting. But we're going to jump in and just do a playthrough of the game next week. So there'll be no kind of changes because there's no builds for play 3 weeks. But there'll definitely be more kind of to action and work on. And we'll come out in 2 weeks' time and have something I think that really, really looks good. But anyway, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And yeah, I will speak to you in a week's time. Goodbye. Oh, actually, not goodbye. Don't forget, you can actually download this on itch.io, and the latest build is up now. So if you want to check it out, and if you have any ideas or feedback or questions or anything, then feel free to put that down in the comments or on the itch.io, and I do look at them. I haven't got any comments, but that's fine. Because, I have got comments and I have replied to them, but I haven't got any questions so far that aren't from friends playing it. So, yeah, I'm always happy to answer questions, and I'm always excited to hear other people's opinions, whether that's good or bad. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Goodbye.